You're listening to ASOTU CON sessions by Space Auto, recorded live at ASOTU CON 2025.
We are live at the ASOTU CON podcast stage powered by Space Auto and in the heart of the action here at ASOTU CON 2025. I'm Nick Askew and I'm here today with Derek Hansen of Cox Auto and Patrick James of Cox Auto talking about solving the inventory puzzle with tech and data. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Nick. Thank you for having us.
So, Cox Auto, probably not a person in the room that hasn't heard of you guys today.
That's right.
So, I am very curious with as many products that you've had and as much seniority you've had, obviously the data that you have got on all of this inventory, what's in the market, pricing, coming and going, has helped you be able to build some complex solutions to provide to dealers. So from your perspective, you know, we always think about the who gets the car challenge in this like multi-store operations and how to actually source inventory. So how has AI helped be able to help you create products using this data to be able to help buyers, you know, get the right inventory for their specific store?
Yeah, Nick, no, I love the question. And you think about, you know, we're at vAuto and you think about where vAuto sits. vAuto historically is taking the data and the insights from the market, bringing all the data points to bear to put the dealer in the best position for success with their inventory. And as you think about where the car should be as what store in the group that's best positioned to execute on that car to drive the best return, that's really at the forefront of where we continue to bring those insights to bear and connect the workflows to make it easier for dealers to get the right car in the right store at the right price to keep fueling that engine for the used car operations. So it's an area we're really developing and investing and using the AI to know the insights of the market. You think about market day supply, you think about the selling velocity, you think about each store's experience with a given make, model, trim, what their customer base is, what their strategy is. We can boil those data points in with our predictive data science and help them understand where that car can get the best success, give them the ability to let the data speak to help inform their strategy for the group, and then give them the tools to execute on that quickly and easily so that car is where it needs to be in a timely manner.
And Nick, you know, I'll add to that. We've seen a lot of consolidation continuing within the industry and a lot of groups propping up, even small groups, you know, 4 or 5, 6 store groups. Can they optimize the retail return on a vehicle in the right store? You know, right store, right lot, right vehicle. And so we started looking at this in the insights that we have even with our vAuto inventory management tool. And we saw about 8,000 vehicles being transferred a month within our solution. Then we studied a little bit further and found another 8,000 happening outside of our solution. And we're like, wow, that's a lot of cars that dealers are moving amongst stores. And there wasn't really an easy way to be able to do that. It was a pretty heavy lift. You know, somebody mentioned in the stage earlier, time robbers, right? Like we got to avoid time robbers. And we found that was a really hard thing. So we reached out to a bunch of our clients and said, hey, how can we help you with this process to make sure that you can optimize the car in the right store and then actually execute on it seamlessly and not have a whole lot of people power behind it. And so we've been real successful with that, and we just continue to lead with that.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing now, especially with the market being as volatile as it is, right? You know, with the complexity of multi-store rooftops, you've also got dealerships that do really well with certain pieces of inventory, and in certain markets as well. So, you know, how do we combat and how do we use that kind of data? And I'm just curious from your perspective,
right. How
do we use that kind of data to say, okay, this, you know, Nissan Altima's 2023, right, does really well in this market. Everybody may be on vAuto or maybe having access to this data. How personalized can we get it for that specific dealer, knowing that, hey, this dealer doesn't do great with imports. They do great with, you know, selling Ford trucks just because that's who their customer base is. How can we leverage that to make sure it's the right car for the right dealer, not just the right car for the market?
Yeah, that's exactly it, Nick. You're hitting the nail on the head, and we're putting the data in the hands of the central group decision maker, the manager, to be able to quickly execute on that, right? As a prime example, we have a couple Chevy stores. One of them caters more towards older model, higher mileage, potentially have accidents, right? You think about what that profile looks like from a customer base. The other Chevy store, same group, same market, one owner, low mileage, higher credit score, right? As you look at filtering the cars that among the group, making sure the car's in the right spot, you can filter within the tool on vehicle history. You can filter on mileage. You can see the store profile of what they have in stock, what leads they have for that make model, and then you can move the car accordingly. And as Patrick said, we've really invested in the tools so that it's a quick, seamless one-button push as you think about executing on. After you've seen the data, you can filter it, you can build your strategy for the group. You can execute very quickly now within the tool.
But you notice when he never said anything about, hey, well, this car's aged, so we got to do something with it and move it to another store. We're actually trying to get dealers to be more proactive and look where is the opportunity more earlier in the life cycle, so that we're not just kind of kicking the can down the road and creating an old age unit that bounces around from store to store. Now that makes sense sometimes. I'm not saying there's not a good idea to keep that unit within the group because used car inventory is so precious right now. But we also think that if someone's looking at these insights early on in the life cycle of the vehicle, they will make better decisions to place the car in the right store so that it moves faster. And the historical sales of that Chevy store that does really well with that unit, their average days to sale is much lower than anybody else in the group, can capitalize on that and keep the machine moving.
Well, and that's one thing that artificial intelligence can really do well for us, is be proactive instead of reactive, right? We can have a predictive model that states, hey, you should do this before it's an old age unit and you have to take it to auction and inevitably lose on it, right?
Yep.
So just with the time that we have left, what is something that a dealer could take that's actionable in their inventory strategy? Obviously, auctions are incredibly competitive. Buying from consumers is incredibly competitive. What would be the number one, I'd love to hear both from you independently, what would be the number one thing that a dealer could take away actionable and say, use this data to help create a better acquisition strategy?
Go ahead.
Well, I think a lot of these groups have moved towards, hey, let's set up an internal auction. And I was involved with some stores that did that. And the problem is now you got people who are bidding on cars just to get cars. And whoever the highest bidder is wins. You talked about the auction being so competitive, right? It's the same thing internally. So what I think a dealer should take away is that, hey, is there a better way, as long as I have some technology that can optimize, make it more efficient, is there a better way to centrally look at these insights, all the inventory in my group, and make a proactive decision to move the car to the right store before it becomes aged and we just call it a bidding frenzy?
Yeah, exactly where Patrick was is where I was going from a group perspective, right? You've invested in the additional stores. You want to see the benefit of that scale. We're now serving up the insights of all of the inventory you own and making it quick and easy to filter and sort and use the analytics to your advantage. We do the heavy lifting with the analytics and the AI to serve up those vehicles and help you then allocate them to the group to get the best performance of the group. And so that's the one takeaway I think that really allows these groups to get the benefit of the additional stores, the scale, and really push ahead and keep up the velocity with the sales, maximizing both gross and turn. And so it's an exciting proposition, and we're seeing a lot of activity with those transfers, and excited to see as we partner with our dealers how we can continue to make that workflow even faster.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, both of you. vAuto is a very powerful tool. You've got the data to be able to create something incredible, and I'm so excited to see you guys innovating to help make some change in the industry, utilizing that. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you having us.
Thank you for listening to this ASOTU CON session brought to you by Space Auto. At ASOTU, we're obsessed with uniting people around one big idea, that thriving people are the only path to a thriving and profitable industry. If that resonates with you, head over to morethancars.com to join our email list and explore our full list of podcasts.